And I think a lot of people think, the government will come too, but what if...
It's not going to happen.
As we found out, the government almost shut down the other week, and it's because they don't have money. So we can't rely on that anymore. We've got
Can't
to take
rely
care
on
of
FEMA,
ourselves.
because FEMA only has so much funds, and the funds kick in at a later date, and there's legislative action that needs to be taken, and the governor needs to declare. There's so many things in place. However, insurance companies are in position to immediately pay claims.
They do it. They have to do it immediately.
They do it immediately.
Now let's look at some evacuation zone inundation maps. This was a big question that we had. A lot of the residents felt that the maps maybe weren't sufficient enough, and so we'll look at, first we're going to look at the evacuation inundation map number 1. And as you can see, that shows the shoreline along Pearl Harbor area, as well as along Eva Beach, which includes only part of Iroquois Point area, and it includes parts of Eva Beach Road and the roads in that area. And then we have our next one, Eva Inundation Map number 2, which includes more in the Papipi Road area and Pohakapuna Road area. And some of us, and I know we talked about this earlier, maybe we feel like that should be pushed back a little bit. What is your feeling?
Well, Kymberly, I lived on Iroquois Point, right on the beach.
Oh.
Okay. But I do know that when you look at map 1, it only goes up to the lagoons.
Yes.
That's not sufficient for that area. And even the individuals that managed the property down there were expressing their major concern because they felt that was just too close. So having lived there and having last year, the last tsunami, been actively involved in evacuating people using my own truck out of that area there, I do have some concerns if it's only up to that first lagoon, because it can continue on.
Now, and I have to say that some of the leaders in the disaster preparedness community said, if in doubt, evacuate. But if you're really inland, and I know Mayor Carlisle was kind of upset that some of us that were inland, miles and miles inland and uphill, were evacuating when they shouldn't have. But if you're pretty close to that zone, we should probably evacuate, don't you think?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. And our next slide, it basically is our hurricane shelter list. And things are different. If there's a hurricane, there's going to be potential areas, like here we have listed in the Eva Beach area all the different schools to evacuate for hurricane. But what they've been telling us is you have to understand, you need to know all the options, because if there is a hurricane, maybe that school might not be, suitable for you to stay at. So as you folks have multiple plans, I know you were saying earlier that you talk about different evacuation areas for your churches. And tell me a little bit more about your folks' plan for the area.
Well, our area covers all of Eva Beach, Eva, Waipahu, Pearl City, Newtown, Royal Kania. And depending on what we expect, we'll open up our own buildings too. Like in the case of the tsunami, our buildings that are further inland are safe. So we immediately opened those up for people that wanted to evacuate. And we opened it up for everybody, community members too.
I know Waipahu was open, right? Because I had one of your members call me, hey Kim, if you need somewhere to go, our Waipahu ward is open.
Over, yeah.
I'll take you there. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a number of people there from the community, and we also had people in our Newtown building. And we coordinate that. And of course, if it's a hurricane, probably the buildings are not the best because of so much glass, and so we would send them to the schools or fortified buildings. And so we prepare those things.
Well, great. Well, let's talk about the good stuff now. I know you brought a lot of great samples for us, and this is the question people are asking. Kim, what does my family need to survive a day, 72 hours, and so forth? Well, Wailana, why don't you show us the two different options we have for the quick escape? I know you have your immediate pack that you would need, right?
Actually, Kymberly, I brought these two items out of my office.
Oh, okay. Wow. So this is the quick escape. Okay.
And my office is right down here in 521 Ala Moana. So in the event something happens while you're here in the office or in my office, there's two different options that I have. This is what I call the grab and go. And basically, that's all it is. It's
It's got some food bars,
some
nuts, and
fruit bars, and this is just to give you something to get by on,
it's
and
not
some
the
water.
gourmet meal, but enough
the
to
gourmet meal.
survive, and water. Okay, so food
This
and
is
water.
this is something that I got to get out of the building, and I just need something to grab, and it's light enough that you can just grab it and you're gone.
Okay.
The other item that I have, I want to look at this. It's a little bit more extensive. This will sustain you for 72 hours or even more. Everything that's in this backpack. Side pocket. It's not a smart idea to use batteries because what happens is that batteries can die.
Yeah.
This is an LED light.
Oh,
It's powered
okay. by your hand.
generation.
Oh, okay.
LEDs use very little wattage, therefore it doesn't use up the stored battery life in here, but it's a light that's usable at night. Front pocket here. Something that a lot of folks don't realize, that if you're out there doing a lot of work and you're moving debris, say be like an earthquake or something like that, this little package here contains work gloves, chem lights. A lot of these things
Those
come
are the
from
glow-in-the-dark things.
glow-in-the-dark.
Right? Oh, okay. Yeah, people don't realize that they need gloves, because if you're clearing debris that's blocking your car or blocking your house, you need to have gloves.
Right, if you're trying to get out. Because here's the thing, infection can cause a lot of problems for you. And when can you get the medical assistance if you happen to be not in an area to receive that?
You know,
that's important.
Another thing to remember though is, besides work gloves, latex gloves, because you might be helping somebody that's bleeding or
So you need to
something
protect
else,
yourself. Now, real briefly, because we're
Right.
getting close to time, but I want to see what else you got. Your first aid kit. So these are the cleaning. Oh no, your
Correct.
toiletries. Your toiletries.
A Parker for shelter.
And a blanket, right? Those
And a blanket.
foil-looking blankets.
Got to have a first aid kit.
Yes.
And you should have sunscreen in there as well.
People don't think about that, but that's very important.
Although I have this, this water run. Not advertising the brand, but this is a 72-hour kit of water with water purification tablets.
And that's something that we've been talking about a lot in Eva Beach. What if we run out of water? We have seawater all around us, and then so this is basically all the 72-hour kit, and inside
This
this
is food
kit,
items.
Oh, food items.
It's
so you
packed.
have breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner, for several different days, and including wipes, waterproof matches, some spoons, and things like that. And these are kind of things you can buy online if you do 72-hour emergency kit. Now, Louis, I want to go into all your stuff. You got some neat things here. We got about 5 more minutes to go.
Okay.
And so tell me about the different radios that you have.
Well,
One thing that our constituents said some of their cell phones didn't work, but you had a solution.
Yeah, we realized long ago, actually back to the early 90s when we had a tsunami coming in that turned into a 6-inch wave or whatever it is. Anyway, but I was home, I was at work, my kids were at home, and we couldn't make contact. And just recently when we had the tsunami and all the cell phone went out, we came up with a solution, which is ham radio. I know I heard a comment earlier that said this is old technology, but this is old technology that works. And it's because it does not rely on infrastructure. We don't need telephone lines, we don't need cell sites. It'll work radio to radio. And believe it or not, with these I am able to talk very long distances. So whenever—
So these are the ham radios, right?
These are the ham radios.
Okay.
And these are walkie-talkies. This costs all of $135. This one is a little bit more expensive.
So my husband and I can have this in our cars, and
You could have that in the cars.
we have an emergency and all the cell phone lines
Yeah.
or the phone lines.
The trick to this, though, is you need to be licensed by the FCC. And so there's a test that needs to be taken, but it's very, very simple.
Was that like you said, $11? Or
Yeah,
something
it's
like
about $11 for 10 years.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
think I can afford
Yeah.
that.
And they've been.
That'll be cheaper than my cell phone bill.
Yeah, I just saw an 8-year-old that took the test and passed.
So these are called ham radios.
Ham
right?
radios.
And then you have a more advanced
And
one.
this is a mobile ham radio that has a lot more power than these, and we use this as a control, as a base to communicate. And so, in the tsunami incident a few weeks back, this is the radio that we use as our control to communicate with the island of Oahu. And there were other radios throughout the island that use this, and of course we coordinate on a local level. And so all of our bishops, a lot of members have these, and all of my family has this. And so no matter where we're at, we're still able to communicate whether infrastructure goes down or not. In the case of cell phone, of course, they get overloaded. And not everybody realizes that in case of an emergency, the telephone company can cut off layers, leaving emergency.
And they
fire.
did that. I won't say which
They did
company.
that.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that company, so I had cell phone use.
Yeah, so they can, but this will work. And so this costs a little bit more expensive, but this will work.
Right. And so a lot of the different wards, they have communication abilities.
We have a number of these issued to all of bishops, and many members have bought these or these by
amazing.
themselves, to communicate.
Well, and so ham radio.
Ham radio.
So you can Google it and get your own. Make sure each member of your family has one. One of the things people don't realize is if you have pets, they need their own emergency preparedness things, and so we have a list for you. People don't know that pets are not allowed in shelters unless you have a kennel.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people are going up to the Waipio Dog Park as a secondary measure. So you need to have your own list of supplies and your own little to-go bag for your dogs.
Exactly.
And of course they need food, they need their leashes, you need plastic bags, of course, paper towels. So very similar things that they need for their family as well. And so we're hoping to have better plans. One of the things that we discovered is the people that did go to Waipio, the city did not open up the Waipio Dog Park. And so that was on our list of things, things that need to be corrected for the next disaster. Because people were setting up tents there. They love their dogs more than themselves. They wanted to go there instead.
Well, this is years ago when my daughter was young. She had a little go kit for our little parakeet. She wasn't about to leave him behind.
Hey, what's important to you better take care of and prepare for. Another thing that we wanted to finally talk about is our certified training with the Department of Emergency Management. I know that many members of your ward are already certified, and so we're going to give you a list of how you can sign up, and it's here on the screen. You can call 723-8960, and it's all free because you're actually going to be helping the state get better prepared. And one of the things they do teach is, of course, how to direct traffic, how to help other people, and how to be part of the statewide team. And so I really want to thank you folks too for coming today, because you are our model citizens and a model organization that shows that it can be done. We can organize our families and our churches and our communities. And we want to let people know that we are having an emergency disaster preparedness fair that's coming up. So we invite vendors to call us or anyone that wants to be a part of it. We also want to have CPR classes, and we want the Department of Emergency Management to set up a classroom there to start the training for you. So please call us at 586-9730. And I want to thank both of you so much for coming to our show.
Well, thank you.
We hope you stay
Appreciate
involved with us and continue to teach us what we need to do to get our community ready. And I want to thank all of you for joining us today, either on the web or on Olelo. And I want to remind you that we can't just wait for government to take care of us. We must ensure that we take care of ourselves and our families first, And that's really the best we can do for our country. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Representative Kymberly Pine, and I look forward to seeing you on our next show. Mahalo and aloha.